Starting back on the garage rebuild, and there is still a ton to work on. But first off, we wanted to go ahead and address a comment that we did get in our last video, and it's regarding these two spaces right here. Now, what that comment was basically saying is that normally these spaces for drivers with disabilities are bigger than others. And Michelle and I 100% agree. When you are building something on such a large scale like this, you're always constantly thinking a few studs ahead to make sure that you have room for everything, to make sure placement is correct, all of that good stuff. And sometimes in that process, you end up forgetting some details. So what we're going to go ahead and do, because we are still currently trying to build this out, is we're going to be rearranging these parking spots so that we can indeed make these a bit bigger. And we do have a lot of space left over to play around with. And looking last night, we did come up with a solution. So let's get some rearranging done, and then we can get these fixed. All right. Let's talk about what we did. So with the two parking spaces of the drivers with disability, we added one stud to each side, which then does make it look considerably wider to the other parking spots. Now we also moved everything down and regained all of that space that we had over here in the corner. Now the reason why there is a 4 stud difference over here, that is going to be where the wall is going to be, and also pillars, so we need to make sure that we had room for that. So what this did is it brought more space over to this side where we can incorporate an area to place bikes and also a couple of benches, so that minifigs can be, waiting for their individual friends or family or whatever right here in this area. And we'll do some greenery and make it kind of look really nice. Maybe we'll tie in a flower pot similar to the flower pots that we have in the city square. So that right there will kind of tie some of these things together, which I think is going to look really nice, especially depending on how we do it. So what happened to the EV parking? Okay, well, it moved over here. So we got EV parking here, EV parking here, and then we have an additional parking space right here. Now, also, we had to make sure that we left enough room for the wall, and if we were going to be having a pillar jutting out, which then works over here on this side, and also gives us an area to hook up the power for the charger for the EVs. So everything makes sense. Now, is this a little tight? Sure, it's a little tight. What we're going to do is we're going to put a minifig that's going to be here directing traffic, helping with parking. But also, I've been to some pretty packed parking spaces and parking structures. So I've dealt with parking like this. And also, it's a Lego city. So there is a little bit of leeway right there. Now, pretty much this is able to be tiled, but I really don't like tiling things until it is all pretty much done and there's nothing else that we want to go ahead and add. So that being said, now we're going to go ahead and work on the elevators because we need to get the spacing, how big those elevators are going to be, and how we're going to fix this middle area so that we can get that really nice, cool shot. Okay, let's start on the elevators. I'm going to have to start breaking you apart and robbing pieces from you because, well, you're going to be going into the next build. So, bye. Look at the absolute destruction of all of these parts from the original garage build and then some. Let me know in the comment section below, whenever you are mock building, does it look like this? Because it always seems to get to this point. I always tell myself I'm not going to do it, and then I end up doing it, and then it's like a huge cleanup afterwards. I got to get better at that. All right, well, we already talked about the parkings. We already talked about the new placement. But now let's take a look at the elevators. So the elevators, it's a very simple design because of the amount of details that we're going to be putting into this new redesign. It's like you have to walk a fine line. If you do too much, then it's going to overshadow and become quite messy and just overly done. But if you don't do enough, then it just looks very plain. So right now we're kind of straddling that line. Well, at least we're straddling that line because we know the details that we're going to be adding. And that's going to be in a separate video because it's going to be quite lengthy to show all of the different changes that we have made and the things that we have added. So when we're taking a look at the elevators themselves, it's a pretty simple build and it does look quite squarish, but once we add the things we're going to add, it'll break up that flatness of the walls and then things will look better. So right here we have a translucent clear piece that allows you to see into the elevator. And by the way, we can just easily take this piece off here. The reason why I did that is because I haven't even tiled this thing off yet. Let me see if I can get this camera to work with me. There you go. I haven't even tiled this thing off yet. And the reason why I haven't tiled it is because I'm still trying to figure out if I want to get the colors of the tile to then be incorporated with some pieces in the build that are still remaining to be done. And I'm kind of looking at what colors we currently have so we don't have to order anything. And that does take some time whenever trying to figure out exactly what it is that you're going to be doing. Now, if we swing the camera over to the front side, let me adjust this a little bit. We have the original UV printed front, and it is this piece right here. It is basically this piece right here that we printed some elevator doors on. So we're reusing that because that came out really well. And then we have our UV printed buttons for pressing, up and down on your elevator. And then the indication light that tells you whether they are currently up or currently down, that whole chestnut. I don't know if I'm going to change these. I would like to have these to be colored just to get a little bit of color here pop, but I don't know. I mean, they're already printed. I don't want to waste pieces, so they might just kind of stay that same color. Now flipping over to the other side, it's the exact same thing. We have our buttons over there towards the back. And then we have our indication sign, same exact piece that we printed here as well. Everything is tied in together. The remaining thing left on here is for us to go. Oh, wow, the camera just decided to move on its own. That was quite weird right there. Okay, hold on 1 second. There we go. Okay, it's freaking out on me right now. The remaining pieces that we have left is to go ahead and add, I want to say it's going to be 4 brick going up, and that'll be the very top of the space that we have for this build. So that's still something that we need to put there. We're not going to worry about that right now because I wanted to show you the elevator build overall. Now this side is going to be quite different. It's actually going to tie into the wall that is going to be built right here. And oh, by the way, I actually started to brick the build all the way around to figure out where the pillars are going to be going. And I wanted to make sure that the placement of the pillars made some kind of sense. This is indeed 3 base plates, so things aren't going to be exactly working out when it comes to the stud placement, but it's close enough. I'm not going to worry about it. So that's what these little pieces that are popping out here. So I did start to kind of brick this build around just to kind of figure out it's going to be a lot of bricks. So it is what it is. But this right here is going to be built into the wall. So it's not going to have that same cadence all the way around. It's going to chop off right here. And you're really not going to, see any of that. But at least on this side, you will see the full build. So this will give it quite a different look compared to just being a solo box. And again, all the stuff we're going to be adding is going to break up some of these straight lines that we have here. So it is looking fantastic in my opinion. Again, there's still a lot of things that we're going to be adding. We're getting very, very close. I think the next video is going to just be full-on details and the plating of everything. Just getting everything completely done, plated. Any of the things that we have coming will be placed, and then we can go over all of that. But I wanted to go ahead and take this over to the city center so I can tell you about that shot that I really wanted to line up. And you can see here, you can clearly see right through there. So I want to give you a representation of that so you can see initially what I was talking about. And then, well, we made a little bit of a mistake with the city, and I wanted to highlight that because, you can't look out for everything. So let's get over there. Look how easy this thing is to transport because it's been mills plated. It's just one arm, just holding it with one hand. That's it. It is super duper stable as I drop it. No, it's super stable. And that right there is what I was talking about, being able to see all the way through to the front, which adds a lot of depth of feel to this, which is what I really wanted to keep. And I didn't want to block any of that off. Now, that doesn't mean that some of the stuff that's going to be placed right here will take up a bit of that space, but it's not going to be enough that you cannot focus straight through and see all the greenery. And again, minifigs walking, seeing pieces of the street from the garage, I think is just a really fantastic shot. So again, we still have to build up the rest of this here and over here on this side to then connect. And then this placement here will connect directly with the elevators that are going to be right here. So it'll all make perfect sense. This is the reason why we went 6 studs in. You can see that it connects here, and then it'll connect right here as well. Same thing on that side. But it is looking fantastic. I'm very excited. It was bad that it broke, and it was bad that it fell, and it did crush me a little bit, but I'm happy that it did because we were able to mills plate it to ensure that it doesn't break apart, in the future. And then on top of all of that, now we can add some of the details that we would have had to break some things apart anyway. So it kind of just helped us to push us forward with that. Yeah, I think it's coming out great. Now I'm going to try to see if I can angle the camera so I don't pick up any of the stuff that's happening on this side, because we made some major changes to the island that we were talking about. Or not island, but the portion of the table that we were talking about that was going to be modular heavy. That's going to be a very cool video, but I don't want to show any of that off yet. But you notice there is a massive gap right here. This table is actually in the middle of the build, and it would have been table to table. There would be no space right there. Well, it's because we were off by maybe a foot. Whenever we decided to bring down, well, hopefully you don't see what was going on there. Whenever we decided to bring this thing down because we needed access to the attic, uh, well, it was basically running directly into the table. So, anyways, we had to move it back about a little over a foot just to ensure that this wouldn't happen again. Which then basically, and I'm going to cover the camera so you don't see what we built right there. But basically, now the table is off by that much space. I don't know what we're going to do here. We either going to leave it like that and just reconfigure the roads so they make sense, or maybe we build something here to take up this space. I have no idea what we're going to do yet, but we'll figure that out in the future. That's kind of a future problem. So it is definitely coming along really well. But I think in the next video, it's going to be detailing time. It's going to be detailing time and also story time. Again, we don't want these videos to be very long. We want them to be nice, consumable bites of information. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section below. If you've made it to this point in the video, would you rather have longer build videos or shorter build videos? It's so hard to gauge when it comes to, what is the right kind of, what is the right time frame to hit? Some people like short, some people like long. I don't know. It's very difficult. But anyways, let me know in the comment section below. Do you rather prefer longer build videos or shorter build videos? But okay, well, the next video, we're going to be detailing everything. We will be finishing off this build and showing you all of the new stuff that we're going to be adding that I feel is going to be very cool look for this garage build. And we'll just take it to the next level. I don't know. Depending on how good this thing looks, maybe we display it next year at Brick World. I would be super afraid. Oh my God, I'd be shaking in my boots every time somebody comes by to take a look at the build, because it's one of those things where everybody's going to be looking at it, but everybody's really cool when it comes to Brick World, so, or even Brick Rodeo, so who knows, maybe we'll think about doing that next year. All right. So as you, well, no, that's not right. If you enjoyed the video and you enjoyed what we're going to be doing here and are looking forward to what's going to be the detailing work that we're going to be doing, hit this video with a like. If you want to see how this build's going to continue, the Lego City, anything to do with Lego, subscribe to the channel if we have earned it. Let me know in the comment sections below, what do you think about our build here for the elevators? Let us know what you think they're, how they look, and just remember there's going to be some more details and all that good stuff. It's not done yet, but let us know what you think about that, and also that shot in the placement whenever this is where it needs to be. It's just so cool that you can see directly through here and then into the city, in my opinion. Let me know what you think about that. While you're out there hunting for Lego, looking for that perfect set for you, be safe out there, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.